All right, I think that means we are live. Of course, I have to make sure of everything. Got some people in the room already. Good grief. Let's check this out here. Yep, there we are. Welcome, folks. This is the September 15th episode of Tank Talk Live. Really excited, extremely tired to be here tonight. I don't know. It's been one of those weeks. I'm super tired, but you know, I'm here and I'm going to do my best to go through a really good topic with you today, and then also afterwards, after we discuss this topic for the day, then we will get into some Q&A. So let's see. We got John, we got Jackson, we got IFG, Joey Boy, Mike, Sean, Josh, Ciclid Nez, Jennifer, everybody's in here tonight. Very cool. All right, so look, folks, got to go over a couple things, just like we always do. Let me find my sheet here. The first thing is really big news, huge news. And it's weird that it's been this way for like almost a week now. And I haven't talked about it on YouTube yet, and that is the fact that we completely rebuilt the website. I did talk about it in the like surprise impromptu live stream that I did on Sunday, but we completely redid our website. You got to go over and check it out. And there's another thing, another reason to go over there and check it out that I'm really excited about. The KGTropicals are ordered; they are on their way, and I've had so many people emailing about it. I decided to go ahead and put them up on the site, make them available for pre-order for everybody right now. There is a limited number of them. I'm not being a salesman here, but there is a limited number of them. So if you are interested in one of those, you might want to get on it and go ahead and order yours now. And they're going to ship as soon as I get them. I might even get the call tomorrow that they have come in tomorrow. And if that's the case, I'll ship them out. The ones that have been ordered already, and a bunch of them have been ordered already, I'll ship those out tomorrow, and you'll get them first of next week. But it's probably going to be more like the first of next week before I get them. And then they'll ship out, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. We'll have to see. But of course, everybody that has already pre-ordered one is going to get a notification from me saying, hey, we shipped it. It's on the way. So very cool about that. Unfortunately, the shirts are only available for my friends in the United States. And I've got a lot of friends outside of the United States. But at this point right now, it just doesn't make economic sense to ship these shirts or really anything overseas. Just the cost of shipping alone would be outrageous. I appreciate people that want to support from outside of this country, but right now it's just not feasible. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't want you to pay, $17.99 for a shirt and $35 to ship it. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So there's that. Don't forget, go over there. They are, like I said, available for pre-order right now, and they will ship out as soon as we get them. They are on the way to us. So we should get them any day now. So there you go. Next thing real quick, tomorrow, Lisa and I are going to start recording our videos. We're going to start a series that's going to start this Sunday, which is going to be all about conquering different fish ailments, different fish illnesses, injuries, things like that. We're going to start off with the number one. Of course, you know what it is. I'll give you 3 guesses. You don't even need it. One guess will get it, and that would be ick. I've already done 2 videos on ick, but the channel has evolved, and we're going to have Lisa now, and my editing skills are better. So I think I can give you a better presentation now on ick. So that's going to be the first one. We're recording that along with the second one tomorrow. So look forward to that coming up on Sunday. Finally get Lisa back in videos again. So really excited. And it's not going to just be me. It's not going to just be her. It's going to be both of us. We're going to work together, which is only the second time that that's happened. If you look way back in KG Q&A, I don't even know, it might have been the 5th or 6th episode I did of KG Q&A. Brought Lisa in to help out, and that was a lot of fun. That's the only time her and I have been on camera together. So really excited about that. And I might be able to drag her in on some live streams too. She did do one on Facebook with us, but has not done a YouTube one yet. Yeah, it is what it is. So hopefully I'll be able to get her in one very soon. So we've already got 129 people in here. Good grief. Let's see what everybody's saying. A lot of people are saying hi. Hello to everyone who's saying hi. I'm sorry, I don't want to read a list of 127 people. Let's see. Okay. IFG, my Jalapeno hits ass whoop big time today. Okay, a lot of people talking to IFG. That's good. Can I put a fighter along? Okay, so here we go, folks. Today we're going to talk about being prepared for anything, being prepared for everything that could happen in the fish keeping hobby. Now, what I've done is I've put a list together of things that I think are important that every single fish keeper should have. This is my opinion. This is from my years of experience. I'm going to share these things with you. These are things that I think that if you have all of these things, you're going to be prepared for anything that might happen in this hobby. You know as well as I do that in this fish keeping hobby that we all love so much, when you keep fish in a glass box, you are simply waiting for the next thing to happen. Whether that thing is an equipment failure, I'll actually go through my list here. Equipment failure, illnesses, breeding, that's a big one a lot of people aren't prepared for. Aggression, leaks, and tank crashes. These are all the things that we're going to talk about today and get you prepared for those things. Some of them might seem like kind of common sense, but still, I think it's a good topic to talk about, and I'm going to try not to talk with my hands because by the end of the video, you'll feel like I've beat you up. So before I do that, let me see if there's anything going on here. And when I'm done with this topic, that's when I will open this up to questions from you. So if you have a question that is not related to this topic that we're talking about today, hold off on that question until I say, okay, I don't think there's anything left to talk about, and then I'll open it up to your questions. This is not going to be something that we're going to talk about for an hour, folks. This is, you know, something to talk about, to get a good discussion going with you. I want you to participate in this. I might not be able to keep my eye on the chat the whole time, but I'd like to get your input, how you feel about these different things. And if there's something that I miss, something that I don't talk about, let me know. Put it in the comment section. I might get to it eventually. So, but still, if there's something that I'm forgetting, put it down in there. And it's not even the comment section. It's the chat in the live stream. So, all right, let's move forward here. Let me do one more quick hello. Let's see. We got Corey Jackson. I already said hi to him. That's a cool name, and the spelling is cool too. Inventory Kings here. Adam C. Vaughn Pruis. Love that guy. Tim's Tanks. Oh, he's saying hi to Inventory King, so I don't need to say hi to him. All right. Okay, so let's get into this. I just read through the list of potential things that can happen in this hobby. The first being equipment failure and power outages. Now, there's a couple of things that I would suggest, and one of them was brought up in my live stream on Tuesday on Facebook. If you haven't joined the Tank Talk group yet, it's surprising to me because of so many people that have been joining the group over the last week or so. It's been out of control. I don't even know where all these people came from, but really exciting. I think we've gotten like 500 members this week alone. It's ridiculous. Every time I go on there, there's 30 or 40 more people that are wanting to join. Somebody brought this up in our discussion there. On the Facebook live streams, I do straight up Q&A. That's all I do. I don't have a topic like this to talk about throughout the video. So if you like the Q&A format, join the Facebook group. It's in the description of this live stream right now. Join that group and come join me on Tuesday nights at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So somebody brought this up in that live stream, and I thought it made a whole lot of sense. And I was like, I've got to keep it on there. They suggested keeping a backup filter, or actually, I'm getting it a little bit twisted. We were talking about, somebody asked the question, do I prefer a single filter or two filters? And somebody said having two filters in case one breaks down. you have another one running, you know what I mean? So that you never really lose that. And that's critical. I mean, this segment here is equipment failure and power outages. So having that backup filtration is absolutely critical. Now, what I do, I've got several air pumps sitting around, and I've got a ton of sponge filters. And so if there was an emergency like that, that's what I would do, is I would stick a couple of sponge filters in there to keep things going while I address the issue with the filter. I've also got, because of how many tanks we had at the shop, I've probably got 25 hang on the back filters that I could use. But the sponge filters are easy because they're quick, and you know, you can just throw them in there and go for it. But having some type of backup filtration is, I'm not going to call it critical, because you can get away with just an air stone for quite a while. But having a backup filter is an awesome idea. And this person in the live stream was saying, if you have two filters running at all times, if one breaks down, the other one can, you know, pick up the slack. I agree with that. I like the idea of having two filters, because you can have different media in the different filters and all of that kind of stuff. But to me, where was I going with this? To me, I like the two filters because it gives you more water movement. I mean, you know, I deal with a lot of African cichlids. I want as much current as I possibly can. And so having the two filters kind of eliminates the need for a circulation pump and stuff like that. So that's just another benefit to having a second filter. But for the purpose of this particular discussion, we're talking about it as a backup in case something goes wrong. A full canister filter, you know, I'm certainly not proposing, if you're going to buy a 125-gallon tank and you're going to put an FX6 on it, I'm not proposing that you buy two FX6s. But having some type of backup filtration is absolutely essential, because it's never going to happen at the opportune time. The time that your filter is going to break down is going to be when you're leaving to go to a wedding out of town, or when it's 10:30 at night and the store in your neighborhood is closed the next day. That's when this type of stuff is going to happen. So having something to use as a backup is absolutely critical. Keep that water moving. It doesn't need to be as big a filter as the one you have on there to run the whole tank, but something to keep the water moving is absolutely critical. Now, the other big thing is heaters. And when we had our store, I always preached to everyone to have two heaters. Some people like the idea of two heaters in the tank. Sometimes your tank is so big you need more than one to be able to heat it up. But some people will have two heaters in a tank. One will be set to 82 and the other will be set to 81. And this way, you know, if the 82-degree one fails, 81 one will pick up the stuff. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that's a bad philosophy, but to me, it makes more sense to just always have one available. And I would rather not put the wear and tear on that heater. I'd rather have it brand new in the package, stuck in the drawer, because again, your heater's not going to break down until it's, you know, the middle of February. There's 1.5 feet of snow on the ground and it's 9 o'clock at night and your heater goes out. What are you going to do? So having that backup heater is absolutely critical. And by the way, folks, understand that if, while we're talking tonight, if you were to take every word I say to heart and you were to just say, okay, I'm going to get all of this stuff, I'm going to make you go broke, because this is a lot of stuff we're going to talk about tonight. And you will have, I mean, you'll be spending a ton of money if you were to buy all of this stuff at one time. I don't necessarily suggest that, but what I would do is have this video be a reference for you that you can come back to later on. I would say, if you don't have these things already, start accumulating them one by one. Every time you go to the pet store, pick up a little bit of something to have, because again, you never know when you're going to need it. So backup filtration, backup heater. The other thing that, since this is equipment failure and power outages, something that every fish keeper should have is a battery-operated air pump. This is critical. I'm going to be honest. I have one and it's broken and it's giving me a little bit of anxiety, but here's the reality. I've got 9 tanks down here running. I'm in trouble if the power goes out for a long period of time. It hasn't gone out here for a long period of time ever, to my knowledge. This neighborhood that I live in has been here for 15 years, and it's never been out for more than 4 or 5 hours. 4 or 5 hours, I'm okay. I can deal with that, and so can you. But in a lot of rural areas, you can get power outages that can last you 5, 6, 7 days. You have a huge storm come through, and it just annihilates the power system in your neighborhood. You can be out for a long time. You need something to keep that water moving, to keep your fish alive. They're not going to be happy, but at least have the water moving, have there be some filtration working in there, because you have that battery operated air pump. You can hook it up to your backup filter, which would be a sponge filter. That's what I would recommend, because they're cheap and you can stick them in a drawer somewhere. There you go. It serves 2 purposes. You buy a sponge filter, I've got them for sale on the website right now. They're not used. All of ours that we didn't use in the shop, I'm actually selling on the website. Again, link is at the top of the description. You can pick up these sponge filters. When they're gone, they're gone. I'm not going to have any more of them, but a nice size sponge filter with a battery operated air pump, you can go for a long time. You might be replacing batteries, but at least you'll have something to use while your power is out. And if your filter fails, you'll have the sponge filter to use while your filter is out. So yes, battery operated air pump. Now, where this gets complicated is if you have a power outage, and this is not an episode all about power outages, but if you have a power outage and it's in the middle of winter, what are you going to do for heat, right? I mean, to my knowledge, there are no battery operated heaters. Wouldn't that be something? Your batteries would last for 3 seconds. But so a generator is another thing that, I own a generator. It's in my garage. And so if we were in a scenario where there was an extended period of time with no power, I would plug in these tanks, the minimal. I wouldn't plug lights in. I wouldn't plug air pumps in. I would just plug in my filters, which move the water really well, and my heaters. That's all I would do in here. And then, of course, plug in the refrigerator and microwave or whatever. But a generator, that's for most people, that's going to be a $500 expense to go out and buy a decent generator. I realize not everybody's going to be able to swing that, but if you find yourself in a situation where your power is out for 7 days, you're going to have a lot of things that are going to end up being ruined by that. So hopefully you don't run into that, but I've certainly heard that story before. And if it's that bad, then a generator, good luck finding one if your power's been out that long. So next thing to talk about here is illnesses. Now, this is one of those things that we could do 5 hours talking about this. I'm certainly no fish sick expert. I can talk very fluently through a lot of these things, but again, I'm just the guy that's been keeping fish a long time. So all of this is just my opinion. But to me, what I would like to see every fish keeper have, what I have here and what you should have in your house, is something for anything that can happen. Because again, if one of your fish comes down with something, there's a lot of things that can take them out like that. Or if you don't get it early, there's no hope. So you notice something and it's 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday night and your local fish store isn't open on Sundays. Guess what? You're not going to order it on Amazon and get it in time. So having these things available is absolutely critical. Did I just say Amazon? I meant order it off KGTropicals.com. I like to have something at all times for ick, internal parasites, external injuries, parasites, funguses, things like that, sores and injuries, which are very normal. And then I like to keep all of those medications available, and then also aquarium salt. Now, aquarium salt is something that I'm sure you already have. Every fish keeper should have. That's like a staple in the fish keeping hobby. Every fish keeper should have a container of aquarium salt. Now, for ick, aquarium salt is where I go. I go with ick, with aquarium salt and temperature. If things go to extremes, then you might need to add medications. So if you want to pick up an ick medication, good on you. Super Ick Cure is one that I am fond of. Cordon Ick Attack is another one that I happen to like. And again, I have to say it because, folks, I got bills to pay. All of these things are available on the website. I'm not doing this as a commercial. I'm just saying, since we're talking about it anyway. The salt and Super It Cure are available on there. I like to keep, for internal parasites, I like to keep metronidazole and General Cure, which General Cure has metronidazole in it. But if you get something that's severe, severe sunken belly, something that's extreme, then you might need an extreme medication, and that's where Metro would come in. General Cure is very good. I think it's a staple in this hobby that every fish keeper should have, but it's not 100% metronidazole like if you were to buy like Metroplex from Seachem and stuff like that. And then another one, now this is one that, people are going to say I'm some kind of a rookie or whatever, but Melifix and Pimafix, these are two medications that are, all natural. They are cheap. They're readily available. And for a lot of minor stuff, if you catch it early, it could be all that you need. And it's some people use things like Pimafix and stuff like that all the time. I mean, they're just always putting it in their tanks. Something that's definitely good to have. If you have a severe illness in your aquarium, that's not the medication that I would recommend for that. But for a lot of minor things, if you catch them very early, it's a great medication to have. Again, very cheap, readily available, and they smell real good because they have like citrusy stuff in them. They smell really good. So those are the things that I like to have. Just going through the list again: Super It Cure, Salt, metronidazole, General Cure. I didn't talk about Canaplex and Focus, but that goes along with the external parasites, funguses, things like that, and Melifix and Pimafix. Now, to buy all of these at one time would be outrageous. I mean, because they're not exactly cheap. Each individual one, depending on the quantities that you get and stuff like that, it would cost you a small fortune to buy all of them. But this is something, start off with ick. If you want a strong medication for ick, something like a Super It Cure, understanding that you might have an impact on the color of your water and all of that, Super It Cure and Salt would be the two that I would absolutely start with, that you should get first. And then if you want to move on to the General Cure, I would probably put next, and then Metro, Canaplex, Focus, Melifix, and Pimafix. Though that is the list of things that I would that I have readily available at any time that I need them. I've always had these things readily available, and I will always have them readily available. When I run out, I get more. It's rare that you have to use things like metronidazole and Canaplex and things like that, but it's nice to have if you need it. So being prepared for illnesses, to me, is critical, because this stuff never happens when it's convenient. And what you end up doing is you end up running to the internet, which is where we all go, and we do a search, and we go on forums, and we go in chats, and we go and we try to find out what it is that we need. Okay, now I know what I need. Now I need to go and find it. And then you see, oh, the pet store an hour and a half away sells it, but oh, it's 6 o'clock on a Sunday. They're not going to open till 10 tomorrow, and oh, I have to work tomorrow. You see where I'm going with this? By the time you find out that there's something wrong with your fish and you need a particular medication, you might be killing a lot of time trying to get that particular medication. And then again, you better hope that your local pet store has them in stock. So I like to have all of those available, because if you have all of those available, you're pretty much ready for any kind of illness that might happen. I know there's a lot of other medications out there. I'm giving you my opinions on the ones that I like. So there you go. Whew, that was a long time without a drink. So let's see, let's see if anybody's adding something good to the conversation here. Melifix has tea tree oil, amazing stuff used by indigenous people for eons. Yeah, I like Melifix. I mean, a lot of people poo-poo Melifix, not this guy right here. I like it. William Feltner, a guy who just ordered medications from me, and I just shipped them today to him, asked, don't some meds crash your cycle? They can certainly have an impact, yes. And there's certain media that you could have in your aquarium that will crash the medications. Things like carbon and stuff like that. So not all the medications, but most of them. So the answer is, yeah. to me, medications are when things are extreme. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of this stuff, good clean water, maybe a little aquarium salt, maybe raising the temperature up a little bit, getting the metabolism of the fish to increase, improving their immune system and all of that kind of stuff. A lot of times that can cure most ailments. But if you're talking about a tapeworm, an internal parasite, you can do water changes all day long. You might not be able to conquer that. So sometimes you do need to go to the extremes of doing that. You know, it's kind of like us taking Vicodin. I mean, you got to do it. Otherwise, you're just going to be in miserable pain and be a horrible person. To me, it's worth the risk. But let me put it to you this way, William Feltner. If you're somebody that is willing to shell out the money to purchase a medication like that, it's not going to be an issue for you, because you're the kind of person that is going to be on top of it. You're going to be monitoring things. You're spending this money so that you can cure your fish if your fish has a problem. So you're on top of things enough already, and you're going to be right there to react if something does break bad in your tank. So I don't think it's going to be an issue for you. For somebody that has a 20-gallon aquarium sitting in the corner of their living room that has 3 neon tetras in it that they bought little Jimmy because he got A's on his report card, and nobody in the house cares about that, I would not be recommending those people put metronidazole in their tank. I wouldn't, because they're not going to be ready to react in case anything goes wrong. I'm not saying you put Metro in the tank and things are going to go wrong, but let's face it, this is a hobby where you never know. And that's why we're having this conversation right now. So what else we got? People talking about battery-operated air pumps. I am trying Paragard right now. I have flukes in my 125, lost a peacock and 2 loaches. Sad face. Yeah, Paragard's a good product. I sell that too. I keep tilapia for food. What's good cures for very mild problems that's still safe for people? That is a question, Paul, that is way beyond any type of expertise that I have, because I am not in any way having anything to do with consuming these fish. I'm keeping these fish as pets, so I won't even begin to give you an answer on that. I mean, my natural instinct would be to go towards Melifix and Pimafix because they are all natural products. I would say that would probably be the way to go, but I don't know. I mean, I've never been faced with that issue before, so I wouldn't know what to tell you. I would definitely do some Googling if I were you, because this guy right here isn't gonna be able to help with that. Anything with garlic usually helps with parasite prevention. Garlic, yeah, sure. I mean, and that's another one. I could have certainly put that on this list. I look at garlic more as like a flavor enhancer than anything else. It gets the fish to accept things better. I don't necessarily look at garlic as a medication, but maybe I'm wrong. But it's a good point, and it's definitely something. You know, there's been so many people. One of the illnesses that we could list, and we will do a video on, is my fish won't eat. You know, that's one of your main signs of a problem. My fish won't eat. What do I do? Well, putting garlic, mixing food with garlic, soaking it in something like a garlic guard from Seachem, will make it more enticing for the fish. It's almost like eating a candy bar for them. So it helps keep vampires away. It definitely does. Yeah, you have that too. You know, you never know when you might need it. Keeps the ladies away too. Yeah. Okay, so what is this I keep seeing with KGTropicals underwear? No plans for that anytime soon. So let's move on, because I want to get through this, and then I want to get to your questions. We're already 30 minutes into this. The next thing to talk about is breeding. Now, when I say breeding, when we're talking today about being prepared for everything, I'm not talking about being prepared to be a fish breeder. What I'm talking about is, what if your fish accidentally spawn? I've been in the YouTube world now for 5 years, and let me tell you something. I promise you, the amount of emails that I've received from people saying, John, my fish spawned, I don't know what to do. I guarantee you that is in the thousands of emails that I've received asking that question. And that is what we're talking about here today is, oh my God, my fish spawned and I don't know what to do. Being prepared for that is easier than you think, but you know, a lot of people aren't. So the first thing that I want to talk about is a separate tank to keep for this type of situation. Now, I know that might sound extreme. My God, why am I going to keep another tank just in case my fish ever have babies? Well, it's not just about that. This is also something that can serve as a hospital tank. I believe wholeheartedly that every fish keeper should have a hospital tank. It's if you don't have one, I'm not going to tell you you're a fool. I'm going to tell you you should get one, because they can be used for so many different things. A hospital tank can be used for exactly what it's called, or it could also be used as a temporary place to store fry because they had an accidental spawn. I don't know why I did that, but it just happened. Another thing that it can be used for is the quarantine tank. I don't quarantine my fish, but to be honest, I probably should, but I don't. And so if you're someone that likes to quarantine your fish, you probably already have something to quarantine them in anyway. So having this spare tank can be used for 3 different purposes. So I definitely would recommend something like that. And what ends up happening, and what leads most of us weird fish people to having multiple tank syndrome, is you get that hospital tank and then you have a spawning. Oh my God, put the fry in there. Oh my God, the fry are getting a little big. What am I going to do with them now? I got to go get a bigger tank to put my fry in. And then you have another batch of fry. And then, oh my God, I've got a fish that has an internal parasite. Oh my God, what? I don't want to treat a 250-gallon tank. I'd rather do it in what do I do? This is how we end up with a dozen tanks. I've only got 9, but actually, I'm sorry, I have something in my eye here. I've got over 200 tanks right now, but only 9 of them have water in them. But this is how it happens, folks. And it's usually because of surprise situations like we're talking about today. But I think that every fish keeper should have a spare tank, not a tank that's in the closet. I'm talking about a running, functional tank at all times that could be used for a hospital tank, a quarantine tank, or a place to store fry. Because let me tell you something. You might be watching this right now saying, well, if my fish spawn, I don't really care. I'm just going to let nature take its course, because that's what would happen if they were in the wild, right? A lot of people say that, and I'm not against people saying that. But once you make contact with those little eyeballs, everything changes. I'm just telling you. And all of a sudden you say, oh my God, these are now my pets. I have to keep all of these little babies. I have to save them. I must save them. Wouldn't it be nice to have something sitting around to use as a hospital tank? A lot of people, they poo-poo the idea of just having an empty tank sitting around. What I told somebody to do when we had our shop, and he loved this and it worked out really well for him. He had a stay-at-home office, where he worked from home, kind of like I do. And I suggested to him a 5-gallon tank, put a beta in it. And you have a little buddy on your desk, just like I have right here. You can't see it. It's right underneath you. But I've got a fluval speck right underneath the camera. You've seen it in past videos. I've got 5 guppies in it. They're my friends. We talk all day long. And you put a beta in it. Why a beta? Well, first of all, a beta is going to be in absolute heaven in there. It's going to love it. 5 gallons for a beta. That's like glorious. But a beta is easy to take out and house somewhere else. So you have a large fish bowl, let's say, and you something breaks bad. The what hits the fan, and you got to put a fish somewhere. You put them in there. You take the beta easily, put them into a fish bowl. Everybody's happy. Everybody's okay. I'm not condoning the raising of betas in fish bowls. I know a lot of people that do it. I've done it, but I don't want to have that discussion. I'm just saying all of this is temporary, right? So you take that beta out, you put him in the fish bowl, and he's happy, or she. You put your sick fish in the beta tank, you do your medications, you do your thing, you do whatever. Everything gets fixed, everything's good. Put that fish back, put carbon in there, get rid of the medications, do a big water change, get the thing back up to speed, put the beta back in there. There you go. So that's an easy way to solve it, because a lot of people don't want to have just a tank sitting there running all the time with nothing in it. And then there's also people that will say, well, won't you lose the cycle if there's no fish in there? I don't necessarily believe that to be the case, but again, You never know. That's the name of the game in this hobby. So having a small fish like a beta in there is good. Keep things moving. There you go. So, or even maybe some guppies like this. Fish bowl, a nice size fish bowl. I've got 5 guppies. Put 5 guppies in there with an air stone. They'll be good for a little bit while we're tending to the sick fish or whatever. So the spare tank, I think every fish keeper should have. If you're somebody that has more than one tank, if you keep more than one different type of fish, if you're addicted to this hobby, and I know there's 179 of you right now watching this, then you should have a spare tank. So I'm not going to go on and on and on and on about that. As far as breeding goes, it's the number one thing to have. Something to put the fish in if this were to happen. Because again, you don't want to run out at 9 o'clock at night to PetSmart and be banging on the door when they're trying to close for the night, trying to get a 5-gallon starter kit so you can take it home and save these fry. So having that extra tank is critical. Also, this is a bit extreme, and I know that, because if you're somebody that feeds your fish flake foods, you have fry food if you have flakes, because you can just do this and you can make it really small and feed your fry. But hey, if you're going to be serious about this and you're going to be prepared for anything, how about having some food for fry? Why not? I mean, you know, we're just having a discussion here, right? I don't sell food. I don't sell fry food. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just saying, you know, it would be good to have that just in case you might need it. But again, if you have flakes, you already have fry food. So that, as far as breeding goes, the only other thing that I would say, PetSmart, Petco, every pet store on the planet sells, and I should get them and put them on my website, those very small net type breeder boxes. Those, they cost like $5. I mean, that is a great thing to have. I've had many of them myself. I've got right now a bunch of the Zis Aqua breeder boxes, which are really fancy and really expensive. I've got a bunch of them that they sent me just out of nowhere a couple of years ago. And so I've got those in case I need them. And I actually have used them. They work extremely well. But you can buy one of those little net type things that clamps to the top of your tank. $5 and your fry are safe in there. I mean, an injured fish could be put in there too. It could be used as like a hospital type situation, but you're not going to be able to medicate just that little net. I look at those nets as more of a place to put fry in case you do have that emergency spawn. Those are really the only things that I can come up with as far as breeding goes. Let's see if anyone else has anything else to say about it. Lisa made me switch back to caffeine free. I wasn't having a hard time sleeping. How can you get rid of planaria? That has nothing to do with emergencies. John is such a cool guy. No, I'm not. Come on. Okay, lots of questions being asked that have nothing to do with this topic. John Corey brings up a great point right now. PetSmart 10-gallon tank for $10. And then there's always the Petco $1 a gallon sale. But you know what? If this is something that you're trying to do, if you want to do what I was just suggesting you do and put together a separate tank, completely independent system, Craigslist is a great place to go too. Because again, they're ready to sell little Jimmy's tank. That's just an annoyance to them in the corner now because Jimmy no longer has interest. You can usually pick up an entire system for dirt cheap because people just want to get out. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is, I'm going to tell you the exact same thing that I told you on breeding. Aggression. What are you going to do if all of a sudden all hell breaks loose? And it can happen any day. It could happen right now during this video in this tank right here. All hell breaks loose and your fish just start thrashing each other and beating each other up. What are you going to do in a situation like that? Aggression being the title of this particular segment here. Once again, you need somewhere to isolate fish. Now, there's a few tactics that can be used. Mr. Honey to You did a great video a while back that it doesn't have anything to do with dealing with aggression, but it has to deal with acclimating new fish into an African cichlid tank. He uses the little like hermit crab type boxes that have slots in them, and you can put fish in there and keep it in the tank. Water circulates through it and everything else. It's almost like a breeder box, but it's a hard shell breeder box. So you're not going to have them picking at each other through the little nets. That's a brilliant idea. I think it was a hermit crab little cage that he used. Again, something you can pick up for nickels and dimes, dirt cheap. Another good thing to have. Now, a lot of this is going to depend on your tank size. I'm willing to guess that most of the people in here right now are people that have large tanks like these, and this really isn't going to be something that's readily available, but a tank divider. If you're somebody with a 55-gallon or smaller, a tank divider will be a godsend for you, because maybe you're keeping South American cichlids and they just have a problem. They have an attitude one particular day, and you only have 2 fish in the tank, and they just start beating on each other. Put that tank divider up, problem solved. Beautiful thing. They cost like $10 at your local pet store. Order them online. I don't sell them, Allison brings up a good point. You can make those too. There are a lot of these things you can make on your own. You don't have to go to the store and buy them. But to me, if I can buy something for $10, it's probably not going to be worth my time to make it. But it is a good point that you absolutely can make a tank divider dirt cheap. Piece of acrylic, drill some holes, maybe an old window screen. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of ways that you could do it. Having a way to isolate the fish is absolutely critical. I mean, you're not going to put a medication in the tank and all of a sudden your fish aren't going to fight anymore. That's not going to work. There's no magic formula for that. Yes, there are some tricks that you can do, particularly with African cichlids, to curb aggression a little bit. But if they're in the middle of killing each other, that's not going to do anything. That's more for a scenario where you have fish that are picking at each other a little bit too much, and you want to change things up. Maybe they'll leave each other alone. But if they're killing each other, you need to separate them. Having that extra tank is going to be the critical thing. So that topic, the breeding and aggression, they kind of work together, and they, all point to fish isolation, whether that be in a breeder box or a hermit crab box or a 5-gallon tank on your desk. The isolation is the critical thing. Getting them apart from each other so that they're not beating each other up, or getting them apart so they're not getting eaten by the bigger fish in the tank. So have you ordered your hospital tank yet? If you don't have one, you need to have one, because they are absolutely critical. And again, I think it's something that every single fish keeper should have. And you know what? The next 2 topics on here I'll cover real quick, because it's leaks and it's tank crashes. They're both kind of the same type of scenario. Tank crashes are almost like what I had in this tank, where your tank just completely crashes and everything just starts to go to hell. You're basically going to be starting over. I mean, that's you're not going to have to throw everything away and buy new equipment, but you're going to go to the extremes like I did with this tank, where, sorry, thought somebody was knocking on my door, but no, that was my golden retriever's tail wagging and hitting the door at the top of the stairs. Whew. Anyway, where was I? You're going to be starting over if you have a tank crash. You're going to be starting over if you have a leak in your tank. Why? Because both of those scenarios, you're going to be getting rid of all of the water, and you're going to be having to make repairs. If it's a tank crash, you're going to be doing some cleaning. You're going to be changing things out. Maybe you'll do like I did, where you change out the substrate. Whatever it is, you're trying to get whatever it was that caused your tank to crash out. So you're going to be starting over from scratch. If you have a tank leak, you're going to be, if it's on the bottom, you're probably going to be taking the substrate out and making the repair. I actually would recommend to anyone, if you do have a tank leak, it's a good idea to go ahead and reseal the entire thing, not just the spot that was leaking. So again, you're starting over. And again, this points right back to having somewhere to put the fish. Having somewhere where the fish can go and be safe so that you can relax and handle the problem. Kind of like I was here. It was like this thing was Breaking Bad all over the place. My discus were dying. It was a nightmare. But I was able to take the fish out, put them into a 55-gallon tank that's over there, and I could relax. And I could take a deep breath. And I could say, okay, what am I going to do now? And that's a good feeling to have, because if you're going to stick them, I saw somebody in the chat mentioned 5-gallon buckets. 5-gallon buckets, it's absolutely true. In an emergency situation, you certainly could put fish in those buckets. I don't know that I would want them in there long term, though. I mean, if you're going to have fish that need somewhere to go for a couple of weeks, 5-gallon bucket wouldn't be my first choice. But it is true. Push comes to shove, you could use a 5-gallon bucket. But all of these scenarios that we're talking about lead to hospital tank. I do think that a hospital tank is one of the absolutely critical things that every fish keeper should have if they want to be prepared for everything. Doesn't do anything for you if you have a power outage or if your equipment fails, but if you have somewhere to put them if they're sick, if you have somewhere to put them if there's breeding, if they're getting beat up, or if your tank fails and you need somewhere to put them in a hurry, you're going to thank God that you have a hospital tank. Maybe I should have just called this episode Hospital Tanks. I don't know. But if you can't tell already, I am definitely a proponent of having a hospital tank. Rubbermaid Roughneck 54-gallon. Absolutely. That is another thing that could work. But look, folks, let's be realistic here, okay? We're all fish nerds, right? All of us are. We're not afraid, at least in here, we're not afraid to admit that. When's it ever a bad time to get another tank? Even if it's just a hospital tank, come on. I have seen some pretty hospital tanks on the internet where people completely deck out their hospital tanks because why? We're fish keepers. We're weird like that. That's what we do. My hospital tank has rocks in it and a cichlid stone and all. I mean, it's got plants in it. So yeah, you know, we do go a little bit crazy with our hospital tanks, but I don't think that there is any more critical thing that you need to get out of this discussion than hospital tanks. The medications I would love to see you all have, and the battery operated air pump and the hospital tank. Because if you have those things, you're going to be ready for a lot of different things. Now, there's going to be people that are going to say, well, John, you were talking about leaks. What about having the silicone available? That's a good point. However, you know, that's one of those things you could pick up next time you're at Walmart. I mean, it's GE1. You could pick that up and you're good to go. It's 100% silicone. Big tube of it's only going to cost you like $2. Yeah, certainly. But my philosophy here, having somewhere to take the fish that are in your leaking tank and move them to another place, then you can relax. Then you can easily drain the rest of the water out of the tank instead of letting it leak on your floor. And you can take your time, you can relax, and you have plenty of time to go and buy your silicone to reseal your tank. And again, I'm going to say it again. If you have a tank leak, don't just reseal that one small part. Don't go buy that epoxy stuff that you need in your fingers and Billy Mays sprays it on the bottom. Don't do all that. Fix the whole thing. Reseal the whole thing. If you had a seal in your tank go bad, that probably means that all the seals at some point are going to start going bad. If you think about the way silicone lays down, if it's got a rip in it, it's going to start to pull off, and it's just going to keep continuing to work its way down. Reseal the whole thing. That's your most fail-safe way of curing a leaking problem. Again, maybe that's another video that I should do down the road. So, what did I miss? Let's see. Let's go through here. And I hate leaks. Always means I have to change my bed sheets. Ha, you silly goose. See, here you go. Anthony says, John, I just had a 200-gallon acrylic tank blow apart on me. Huge mess. Thank God for my extra tanks, 155 and 510s. How do you repair acrylic? I'm not an acrylic guy. I've never repaired it, so I'm not going to give you any pointers on that. But that is a great comment because that just goes to show you what would this guy be doing and what kind of story would he be telling right now if he didn't have somewhere else to put his fish when his acrylic tank blew up on him. I'm just saying. So get a hospital tank. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It just has to be full of water, and it needs to be cycled. And you can make it as pretty as you want. You don't have to spend a fortune on it, and everybody will be happy. You'll be prepared for everything. All right. Somebody had to throw the "we get it, you vape" in there, huh? I haven't heard that one before. All right, so let's do this. It's 8:52. We've got about, I'm going to go till about 9:30 tonight. We're going to do an hour and a half. So let's go ahead and open it up to you, to your questions. Just remember, folks, I'm not going to be able to answer every single one because they come in fast, and I can't. I'm one person, can't do it. My moderator that usually is in here sending questions is not with me tonight. He was actually having a grandchild brought into this world today. And I don't know who that is calling me at 9 o'clock at night, but I'm not going to answer it. So he's not with me tonight feeding me questions. So I'm going to go for it on my own. If I don't answer your question, please don't be offended. It's either because I don't know the answer or I just didn't get it. So there you go. I need a KGTropicals Aquaticy and PRA shirt. PRA. I don't know what PRA is. Am I a jerk? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. But you can get your KGTropicals shirt on KGTropicals.com right now. The link is at the very top of the description. Resealing a tank, in your opinion, every 10 years? I am a believer in, and there's so many people that would just completely disagree with me on this, but I'm a believer in, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If a tank is holding water and you're not having any symptoms or any signs, you don't see any bubbling in the silicone or anything like that, and everything's holding perfectly fine, I'm not going to touch that silicone, because that's when you'll start having problems. I'm not saying you're going to do a bad job of resealing it, but to me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's a massive tank, one like that, and you're just terrified of it destroying your house if it leaks, that's a little bit different. But if it's a 10-gallon, 20-gallon, what's the big deal? I mean, 20 gallons of water does not have the kind of pressure put onto that glass as that does. So it is a different scenario. But, I mean, if it's going to make you feel better every 10 years, sure, do it. But for me, if it's not leaking, I'm not messing with it. I'm going to leave it alone. I meant that to be funny. Now, I'm just messing with you, Owens. Owens Aquariums, don't take anything I say seriously. Papa Rhino's Aquatics, really nice aquarium for him. That I have never heard of, so I will check that out. Can an electric blue hap live with an Oscar and Frontosa? How come I have to get that question every single week? It's without fail every single week. Any fish can live with any fish as long as they're freshwater, but I'm not going to tell you that you should do it. Have I heard crazier stories than Oscars being with electric blue Jack Dempsey's? Yep, I certainly have. I personally would not do it because I just wouldn't do it. Because for one, all of my tanks are on YouTube, and I would get crap from people every single day, nonstop. There was a YouTuber a few years ago that came and went. A lot of YouTubers do. He came and went. He was only with us for, I don't know, 7 or 8 months or so. And he had Oscars with African cichlids, and people just handed that guy so much crap constantly. It was actually, it might have something to do with why he's not doing videos anymore, but don't do it. Just get 2 tanks. Then you can have your Oscars and your electric blues and your Frontosas. There's a lot of people. Who am I talking to here? Jackson, the guy that I love his name. I'm assuming you're a guy. Why do I do that? What was I going to see? See, I lost all train of thought here. Oh, what I was going to say was there's a lot of people that would argue that Frontosas and electric blue haps, electric blue Alis can't go together. So you've got an argument on your hands right there. But I'm telling you right now, yes, you can do it, but don't, because just no. Filtration pH level. This is doing it to me again. All right, I lost that question. It's gone. Sorry. Oh, same here. Biffly, mine was built in 92. 175 watching. Woohoo! 176 now. Do you put salt in your breeding tanks? If they need them. I mean, right. The water that comes out of my tap here is ideal for really all these fish that I keep. So I wouldn't be putting salt in there, but you can if you need it. You should start breeding fishes. I mean, you on love with this hobby. Why not? I'm sure you're going to have a lot of customers because of your YouTube channels. Johnny, I used to breed fish and I did have a lot of customers, but it just didn't work out. Lisa and we've actually got a holding female right over there, not in the 240, but in the next tank over. And she's got eyeballs in her mouth. So she's ready to spit any moment. And that's exciting. We've got her in a 55. So when she spits, the fry are going to just be like, because they're in a 55 and it's going to be glorious. And they're going to be hybrids, but you know what? I don't care because I love all fish. What's the biggest obstacle you have overcome within this hobby since day one? Well, there's two things that I could bring up. One was a period of about 2 months where all of the inhabitants of my original 240-gallon tank died. No, I just lied to you. The first two was in 125 before we moved them into the 250. The next two were anyway. They were all very close to each other as far as the time frame that it happened. 2 Motoro Stingrays and 2 arowanas. The first arowana died from jumping out of the tank, and then the second one was about a week later. And I do believe she or he died of a broken heart. I know that sounds corny, but I do believe it from the bottom of my heart that that's what happened. The Stingrays were very similar. One of them croaked out of nowhere, never jumped out of the tank, just out of nowhere, dead. And the other one died about a week later. Water conditions perfect, no idea how it happened or why it happened. And that was a bad couple of months for me. And my first arowana that jumped out of the tank, that was my fault, and it happened on Father's Day. You want to talk about ruining the only holiday that's supposed to be about me every year? That was brutal. The next thing is overcoming losing the shop. We didn't have the shop taken away from us. We chose to walk away, but that was hard. And if you follow me closely and you look back, I did a podcast episode all about the impact that had on me. It was brutal. For about a year, it shut me down. That has nothing to do with fish keeping, but it was a fish business. And that definitely below ground level. I mean, that threw me way down into a deep, dark hole, which I'd rather not talk about anymore. But that was the biggest obstacle for sure. But you know what? You're always going to have that special fish that dies, and that's brutal. Just had one 3 weeks ago with our Oscar that died. That was hard. I mean, we have fish die, as I'm sure all fish keepers do, especially if you have 8-9 tanks like I do. You're going to have fish die every once in a while, and it's something that you keep in fish 20-something years. You get used to that, especially when you had, for 2.5 years, you had 200 tanks in a fish store. Fish death is not that big of a deal, but when it's a fish that you've had for 8 years, that is a struggle. So there you go. I hope that didn't just ruin your night there, Haxorable. Still using a UV on any of your tanks? Yes, that one does. I do have the Aqueon, which I'm going to be putting onto here. It's right there. It's on the floor. It's one of those things where I took it out and cleaned it out when I did my overhaul, and I just haven't put it back on there yet. I don't know why. I just haven't. But yeah, I'm a big fan of UV sterilizers. Do they work? I don't know, but it makes me feel better to have them on there. With Mbunas, how big do they grow per year? I had a group of 11 for a year now, and they are maybe 4 inches in a 55-gallon. 4 inches, that's a pretty good size. So much of it, Cody, is going to depend on you. It's going to depend on the tank size that they're in. It's going to depend on what you're feeding them and how often you're feeding them, how often you're maintaining the tank. All of those things factor in. The fish that grows the fastest is going to be in the largest body of water. I know Corey and I would argue about this, and that's fine, but in the largest body of water, fed multiple small meals per day with just super clean water. That's the fish that's going to grow the fastest. So keep that in mind. I don't know of any particular like set amounts that happen within a certain amount of time. I don't know. I don't know that. Yeah, I like William Feltner's idea of the medicated food. Yes, I'm not sure with hexamida. That's not a disease that I'm familiar with, Brent. But if that is an internal disease, then absolutely medicated food. What I like to do for medicated food is use medication in powder form, put it in. I like to use, I'm going to show this in all of these videos coming up, but I like to use frozen foods and thaw them out. And there'll be a little bit of liquid in there, put the food in there, mix it up real good. And then I actually end up using garlic, the garlic guard from Seachem, which I think is what William Feltner ordered from me. I'm not 100% sure. I know he got General Cure. I could look it up, but garlic guard is great. I'm not going to go through it all again because I've already talked about it, but it's one of those things that takes the food from being a bittery, medicine-y smell for the fish that isn't appealing to them and makes it appealing for them. So if you're having a hard time getting medication in your food, then, or medication in your fish, that would be the way to do it. It's almost like wrapping the dog's pill in a piece of cheese. Anybody do that? I do that because I can't just give my dog a pill and she'll take it. Neither one of them will. We put it in a piece of cheese and then we give them the cheese and they're like, and it's like a treat for them. That's the same kind of a concept. Good evening, John. How is tour night going? I'm not on any kind of tour, Redskins fan. Typo. No, my night is going well. I was extremely tired. You can see my eye twitching. That happens when I'm super tired. It's been a long week, and it's a long week every week, but that's what's hopefully going to keep me young. Are cobalt blue peacocks and labs a good mix? Cobalt blue peacocks. I've never heard of those. What I'm thinking you're asking me, Anthony, is cobalt blue cichlids, peacocks, and labs a good mix? And I'm going to tell you, sure. I've got those all three in there. Now, there's a lot of people out there extremely or like elitists that will tell you, no, you can't mix peacocks, haps, and imbunas. I don't agree with that. I do it all day long right there, and I've been doing it for 20 years. So, sure, go right ahead. Somebody said LOL. I must have said something funny, and there goes my... I use hot dogs. You use hot dogs to give your dogs medication? That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Ordered garlic cure, general cure, and garlic guard. Good. Yep. Shipped those out today with a little surprise in there for you. We'll talk about that later. For big tanks, Craigslist is the best. Yes, it absolutely is. About that tank right there off of Craigslist 8 years ago. Going to remove that spam. All right, so you're going to have to, and of course we have the most watchers in here ever now, because now we're getting to the Q&A part. Do y'all not like my discussions about these things? I've got some really good topics coming up. I love my Oscar too, like family. Yeah, Oscars, there's a lot of fish that do become like a part of the family, and Oscars are absolutely one of them. Arowanas do that for me, stingrays, and of course African cichlids, because of the way African cichlids just go bananas every time you walk up to the tank because they think you're going to feed them. But you feel like they're going crazy because they love you. No, it's not that at all. It's because they think you're going to feed them. All of those things become more than just decorative animals that are in these glass boxes. They do become actual pets. And it's sad when you lose one of them. Got my meds today. Good job, Von Pruis. I forgot what meds you ordered from me, but I'm glad you got them because, you know, like we're talking about today, you never know when you might need them. How do you medicate food? Okay, I kind of just went over that, Pam, but I will go over it again because I'm a good guy, and that's what I like to do. Whether you're using things like pellets or frozen foods, I wouldn't necessarily do it to flakes because it's going to soak it up so fast and the flakes are going to deteriorate really fast. I would use pellets or frozen foods. If you're using frozen foods, which is my preferred way of doing it, something like a bloodworms, which is already a treat for fish anyway, put them into a little cup and let them sit for a little while and let them not dissolve, but melt so that you've got a wormy, bloody, nasty little soup in the bottom of your cup. Don't microwave them. You don't need to cook them for your fish. Just leave them out for 45 minutes or so and it'll thaw out. You could even take that cup and set it in your aquarium and let the temperature of the aquarium water warm them up and defrost it. You could do it that way too, but I just usually let them sit and then come back to it later. Once you do have them thawed out, you take your medication. I personally like to use, if I'm going to be doing this, the medications like metronidazole, Canaplex, Focus. These are powdered medications. There's tons of powdered medications out there. I'm just telling you the ones that I like. And you would read the directions on the package and put the appropriate amount into the food. Just throw it into your cup that has your melted frozen food in there. Mix it all up really good. And then I also like to use a little bit of the garlic guard, also from Seachem, also available on our website, to give it a better taste for the fish. Fish absolutely love bloodworms. I don't know a fish that doesn't like frozen bloodworms, but when you mix that medication in there, it's kind of like, you know, you have a hard time getting your kids to take cough medicine because it tastes so gross. Same kind of a deal. But if you put the garlic in there, it makes it more enticing. It makes it more like it takes it back to being a treat again for your fish. That's how I like to do it. Okay. Paragard and erythromycin. Okay, there you go. Did you do a video on that? I did not do it on the mixing medications into foods, but I'm going to, G-Bear. I'm going to be doing that in the very near future. What do I feed baby rams? Don't have any live foods available. There's a couple of schools of thought there. Some ground up flakes. I'm sure you have flakes. If you're keeping fish, you probably have flakes. Grind them up real good, and hopefully they get down to the bottom where your fry are. If they're not getting down there, you could go to CVS. Let me show you. Let me grab this real quick. CVS has little syringes like this available, and a lot of times they'll just give them to you. They don't have needles on them. They're just little plungers. You could suck the food up into this and then go all the way down to your little swarm of fry and give them a little squirt, and that'll get the food right there to them. That's a great way for doing it. I use this for mixing my e-liquids for my vape, but that's what I have this for. But they're available all over the place. CVS will give them to you for free. I think Walmart even will too. And they won't even look at you funny. It's not like you're walking in there saying, "You got any heroin needles?" You know, that's not the kind of needle that they're giving you here. So, Wayne's Fish World, what's up with the arowana at the Petco up the road from you, John? Do you think they should be selling them? Seeing you love arowanas. Is that the one, Wayne, that has the arowana in the turtle tank, but there's no turtles in the turtle tank? Is that, because I know I've seen that recently. You know what? I follow your channel, and I know that you have done a video similar to the one I did last week. You did it a lot sooner than I did, so if you want to call me copying you, that's fine. But I did my live stream last week. My topic was fish that shouldn't be in the hobby, and I actually said arowanas. I think you might have said that too. But I want the arowanas to be available to people like me, people like you, people like probably the 187 people that are watching this, but not available to everybody. I don't think arowanas should be available to everybody. When you have them at Petco, they're available to everybody. So I think that's a mistake for them to have them. And how come you were in King George, you didn't stop by and say hi? I don't get it. Did you ever struggle to breed certain fish? Yes, discus. We've never gotten discus to breed, but we haven't really tried to facilitate breeding yet either. But we've had a lot of discus spawnings, and none of them resulted in fry. So I feed my Kenyi fry KGTropicals pellets. Woot, woot. Love to hear that. And they gobble them up like crazy, don't they? And they're going to grow super fast on them too. John, how far do you ship? I'm assuming that was supposed to be far within the United States. Anthony, that's as far as I ship. How do you fix needle tail? That's not one that I'm familiar with. You could use a vape juice dropper to suck up the food. That's true too, Kevin. Or yeah, absolutely. You could do that. But not everybody has vape juice blocker or vape juice tops. And your comment, Kevin Green, it got blocked by the channel block list. That's weird. Or channel blacklist. I don't know why that happened. Anyway, you should do a video on kingfish, fish that are beautiful and or difficult, like discus and Asian arowana and the Moorish idol. Do a video on kingfish. I'm not sure what that means, Owen, but okay. Tractor Supply also has them. Yes, they do. And they're not like, they're the blunt tip ones like this, right? I think because they're for like medicating animals and stuff like that. If that's what you're talking about with the syringes. I know they have the syringes. I have heard that. With Malawi cichlids, what Malawi cichlids would you put in a 50-inch front tank? Thanks. Imbunas. I'd stick with imbunas. Maybe a few peacocks. Thoughts for sponges on filter intakes. I love it. I love that idea. And I've been begging Corey to tell me who his supplier is that he gets his from so that I could put them on my website and have them available to my people too. He won't tell me. Do you use the blue lights at night on any of your tank? I leave mine on for 2 hours before bed. Nope, I just turn them off. Just turn them all the way off. Sometimes I turn the blue ones on the saltwater tank during the day just for fun, just to be a little psychedelic, but I don't leave them on there, no. What about shipping during cold weather? I'm in New Hampshire and it gets 40 below up here. My tank won't be set up till late fall, maybe. Shipping what? I mean, medications that are liquids, or if you're talking about fish, I don't ship fish anymore. But if you're asking about shipping fish, and I've actually thought about doing one of these live streams and have the topic be buying fish online, let me know what you would think about that. No, it would not be an hour-and-a-half long advertisement for Live Fish Direct. No, I promise you it would not. But what I did was I was looking back at my older podcast episodes that I had, because I still have them all. And one of them was buying fish online. I did an entire hour on that. If you want to see that, if you'd like to see my opinions about buying fish online, how to do it, how to research who to buy from and stuff like that, then let me know today, and maybe that'll be a topic for next week. But if you're talking about shipping fish to you, Johnny Boy, you're not going to get them from me. But 40 below, if somebody ordered fish from me when I was selling fish, and it was in the middle of January or February, and the customer told me it's 40 below up here, I would say, you know what, let's hold off, because you just never know. I mean, I'm going to put them in an insulated, I would have put them in an insulated box with heat packs, and I could double up the heat packs and stuff like that. Not a big deal. But what I would be more in fear of is the delay on the tarmac, the delay due to weather, the delay due to this or due to that. That would be what would scare me the most. Not the package not making it the 24 hours, but the package not making it 72 hours if something went wrong. That's what would scare me. So if you're talking about shipping fish, I don't know that I would order fish if I were you in the middle of winter, and that would solve that problem. Never heard you mention anything about compressiceps. I love compressiceps. Please do a video on buying fish online. Oh, look at this. I've got Evan Alexander sending me questions now. Better late than never. Only 13 minutes left. Do buying fish online. Love the info. Is it... Okay, well, maybe I will do that. There's been a couple of people already that have said that. Yes, so. Plush Pleco 11.99 KGTropicals.com. Yeah, did somebody ask about those? Yes, they are available. We've got 2 that are already sold out. The red one and that one, which is the I don't remember the name of that one, but I'll probably end up selling that one since we're out of stock of them. But the red one is gone. Paul Martin actually bought the last one of those, but we are ordering more. But there's 5 other different variations available still on the website. Cure for bloat, we're going to do a video on that very soon. All right, let me see these questions that Mr. Alexander sent my way. Okay, already got that one. Help milky, cloudy water. And somebody already did best cure for bloat. Yeah, I'm going to do a video on that. We've only got a few minutes left here today. There's not really enough time. But just to give you a little heads up on that, you want to get the medication in the fish. So medicating the food, like we talked about when I addressed whoever it was that asked me about mixing the food in there. Pam Parsons asked that. Milky, cloudy water could be a couple of different things. Usually it is either an algae spike or it is a, did I just say algae spike? It's late, folks. Algae bloom or ammonia spike. So you're not really going to know if you haven't tested your water. If you test your water and you have high ammonia, then you need to be doing big time water changes. You need to be using a product like Prime to detoxify that ammonia. It doesn't make the problem go away. I can't tell you how many people came to me and said, yeah, the ammonia was through the roof in my tank, but I just put Prime in it. That fixes it, right? No, it doesn't. It doesn't make the problem go away. It just detoxifies it, makes it tolerable for the fish. So don't think of Prime as a remedy. Prime is a fantastic product. It's quite possibly the best water conditioner on the planet, but it doesn't fix problems like that. It simply makes it tolerable for the fish. So if you have an ammonia spike, not an algae spike, you're going to need to do some research. I've got a whole video on ammonia and nitrite spikes, so check that out. But you're going to be doing some work to get that ammonia back down, and a lot of it's going to involve water changes. If it is a algae bloom, then you're going to be kind of doing the same thing, but it's not going to be as critical because algae is not going to kill your fish. It just looks really bad. So you're going to still be doing water changes. I have found the fastest way to eliminate the cloudy water column algae bloom is with the products like New Algae, Algae Fix, stuff like that. It cures it like I can't snap tonight because I'm all sweaty. Cures it in like 20 minutes. It's gone. New Algae doesn't work as fast as Algae Fix does, but it's safer for the fish. It doesn't deplete the entire tank of oxygen. So how to tell if you have the right surface agitation. This is going to be the last question, folks. It's a good question. If you don't have bubbles accumulating anywhere, if you don't have crusty stuff forming anywhere, if you don't have a film on the top of your water, if it doesn't, sometimes you get that kind of a pearlesque looking, purpley, weird looking, oily looking film on the top of your tank, you definitely don't have enough agitation. You need to keep it moving. I usually just like to see movement, and not like waves, but movement all the way across the top. If you have movement, then you should be good. But also, you're definitely going to want to make sure there's no buildup of anything around the top and no oily stuff up at the top. I keep algae in the back and sides of my tank. A lot of people like the look of that. So somebody asked about a Bucco in a 60-gallon. No, wouldn't do that. Would not do that. So, all right, folks. So somebody got banned. Wonder what that was all about. I'll have to talk to him about that later. But folks, this has been a lot of fun. I hope you like this new format. I'd like you to let me know. I'm going to be here for another few minutes. I'd like you to let me know if you like this format where we have a critical topic to cover in the beginning of the episode. Let people file in, and then we address, I address your questions. I'm enjoying it that way. I think it's fun, and it keeps it interesting. The questions can be really difficult, especially when your mod doesn't start sending you questions till 15 minutes before the daggone thing's over. I'm just giving you a hard time, IFG. You know I appreciate you. But let me know what you think of the format. I love this format, even though I got here late. Well, see, there you go. Redskins fan and him and I, we're going to get along for a long time. I think it's great stream. You're the man, as always. Okay, so continue to let me know, folks, because if enough of you like it, then I'll keep doing it. I'll keep doing it this way. 5 people disliked it. It is what it is. You can't please everyone. One of those dislikes was already there when I started. So, I do have more than one person that dislikes every video. And I know this because it happens like within the first 30 seconds of me uploading a video. I know that if I upload a video, I can immediately go to my channel, go to that video, and within a minute, there's going to be a dislike on there. So that's just some asshole that clicks dislike because he has a problem with me or whatever. Whatever. That's what the first one was. But 4 people click dislike. It's okay. I mean, I'm not going to lose sleep tonight. I wish I could have done better for you. But, this is something where you can't please everybody. And I get that. I understand that. There was 200 and something people in here at one point tonight. So there's no way that this guy right here is going to be able to please all of them. And I would be willing to bet that it's either my enemies that I have made over the years, or it is people that I didn't answer their question. And so they dislike it because they're pissed at me because 300 and something questions here and I didn't get to theirs. But anyway, I like this format. I think it's fun. And I'd like to keep doing it. Maybe next week we will do that Buying Fish Online episode. I like the sound of that. I think that would be fun. Do a live stream with Jay Wilson. He would never do a live stream with me. Let's see. Paul Martin's here. Paul Martin. Now I have to ask him, folks. Paul Martin, did everything work out okay? I mean, if so, why are you in here? What are you doing in here with us? What's going on with you? But we'll talk after the stream anyway. But I'm enjoying this format. I really do appreciate you all coming and hanging out with me. 104 likes. Look at y'all. All I had to do was start talking about people disliking, and y'all just keep on coming. But folks, I do want to, as we wrap up here, I do want to remind you, please, if you are a fan of what we're doing here, Lisa and I, not just me, if you want to know how you can show support to the channel, head over to KGTropicals.com. We've got so much stuff on there now. I mean, it's not like it's PetSmart, but we've got a lot of stuff on there. Almost all of the things that we talked about tonight, I've got in the website right now. And if you get on there tonight, before tomorrow, we've still got a sale going on. There's 177 people in here right now. You're the only ones that are going to hear this. I should have said it in the beginning. We're doing an 11% sale this week to commemorate 9/11 and also celebrate the creation of the new website. If you go to the website, order up your medications, order up the KG Tropicals cichlid pellets, pre-order a shirt, order all of these things. If you put never forget in the promo box at checkout, just like William Feltner did yesterday, I think it was, or it might have even been today. If you put that in the promo box, doesn't matter how you capitalize it or anything, never forget, you're automatically going to get an 11% discount. That ends tomorrow. So you only got a little bit of time left before that sale goes away. So get on there and do that. if you pre-order, what I'm going to ask you folks, please understand, it would work out best for me if you pre-order a shirt and you also get some medications and some food with that. If you wouldn't mind, would it be okay if I sent it all to you at one time so that I'm not shipping 2 packages to you and losing money? You know what I mean? You're going to get an email from me if you do that anyway, asking you if that's okay. But shirts, they're probably not going to get here till the 1st of next week. And I might even get them tomorrow. But so it will be the 1st of next week before they get shipped out. If you wouldn't mind waiting a couple of days for 1 package rather than getting 2, that sure would help out a lot. So that's it. I'm not going to do any more commercial for KGTropicals.com. Thank you so much for the support that you've shown. The new website and the new KG Tropicals food and everything that we've been doing, the love that we've been getting on it has just been absolutely inspiring, and I've just been absolutely loving it. So I'm enjoying myself now on YouTube more than I ever have. It's just absolutely wonderful. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here tonight. I sure have enjoyed myself, but for now, I'm going to sign off because I need to take my sleeping pills because it's getting late. So thank you all so much, and I will talk to you on Sunday, and I'll be with Lisa. So don't miss that. It's not going to be live, but that's when the first video of me with Lisa will go up. So I'll see you then. But if you don't catch that, come see us in the Tank Talk group, and I'll go live on Tuesday where it's all Q&A. Anyway, I could go all night. You all have a good night. Thank you so much.